Okay, everybody. The meeting is adjourned. Let me get this removed. Let me take down the clown face. All right. Now I'm gonna talk for a moment or two, and then I'm gonna throw it to Mariana, and we'll go from there. Please leave a comment on what you think about how the meeting went. I couldn't agree more, Brandy. Wow was a word I used several times in this, including the attempted bullying by the president, or not by the president, but towards the president of the school board a little bit earlier in the meeting when she was asking about devices. So first, I want to start at the beginning. There's only a couple of things that I'm going to address. One of those things is the devices in the classroom. I think devices are an important tool for learning. I do think that they have their place, and I am fully on board with parents being concerned about screen time and what that can do to your children. Absolutely. In terms of what Kelly was saying about being needing the parents then needing to be the bad guy when they bring their school tablets home, that's called parenting. I'm sorry, Madam President, but I'm going to disagree with you on that. That's called parenting. That's the way it is. You have to discipline your children. You have to give them rules and you have to give them guidelines and you have to help them stay within those rules and guidelines. That's called parenting. Okay. And there is a serious lack of parenting. And there's a lot of people that think schools should be doing the parenting. It is not their job. That's also part of this problem that schools are having right now, where schools are actually being almost, they have to make decisions because the parents aren't doing it. So it has to be an equal, parents have to be involved, the school has to be involved, the child has to be involved. And guess what? You're never going to make everybody happy. Someone's always going to be upset. So, in regards to the devices policy, I think that devices have a place in learning. Absolutely, they do. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. It can make things a lot more interactive. You can do things with them. I'm for tablets and devices, computers being part of the learning process, but that's not the only thing that should be part of the learning process. Of course, there has to be reading and writing and actual face-to-face teaching. It's all encompassing. You can't just pick one thing. Oh, the tablets will do the teaching. No, they won't. It takes everything. The students and the teachers and the
It's a
parents.
little bit more than that, Jonathan. It's a little
You
bit
think?
more than that, Jonathan. I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to have to agree to disagree. Okay,
Oh,
the
that's
issue
fine.
is
That's
this,
great.
and this is what it comes down to. A lot of the kids, okay, are using on the devices in school and at home, and a lot of teachers have been complaining about it. These tablets and these tools in order to have AI do the work for them. Okay, so basically AI is doing the teaching, but hey, maybe AI is not teaching them pronouns. Maybe they're learning it something. Who knows? But
Oh, I'm
in reference to the tablets, okay,
yeah.
there's a hefty price that comes with them. And this is the issue. Okay. There's a hefty price that come with it. And for a school district that is broke as a joke, because they don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it. They are broke as a joke. And a school district that's putting, all this financial burden on the taxpayers, that's no longer acceptable. We have to find where to save money. Then if one of these kids are saying, when 2020 started, they gave them tablets. So there are some kids and they gave them computers. There are some kids that have these computers back from when the COVID
Yeah.
scamdemic started.
Yeah.
So as a car or as any other any tool, because you've had computers and laptops yourself, they start to deteriorate. Okay,
Yeah, of
so if
course.
these computers start to deteriorate, okay, and they stop working, or God forbid the kid, dropped it and it cracked, they want to charge these parents as though that piece of item that we already paying by our tax
Mm,
money, okay,
gotcha.
they want to charge the parents as though it's brand new. So there's a lot of frivolous spending. They
Oh,
already have laptops. Do we need tablets? No, they all have laptops. All of them.
I,
And
I
as the kids come into school, they're given new ones, the new students. Okay. I'm all for, yeah, it's their responsibility to upkeep it. I get that. But after a while, these things start wearing down. Okay. And then we have become so dependent. These students have become so dependent. Listen, these computers, there's a parent that we haven't seen in a while speaking, and that's Dora Polk. And she has spoken many times about these laptops because while in school, okay, these kids are putting up YouTube, seeing music video, playing games, and we have reported it. Some of our parents that we found out this is happening have reported it about our own kids, and the IT has the nerve to say that there's no way that they can stop that. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Now,
if it's being
go ahead.
used for study is one thing, but it's being used for other, nefarious reasons, and there's a big, a big price tag that comes to it that we can no longer afford.
Yes. Now, I will absolutely agree with you on some of those points. Okay, in terms of charging parents if they become lost or damaged, which because the parents are already paying for the original one, why should they have to pay for the replacement? And I'm not saying that they should have it all the time. And I understand screen time. I'm just saying, just like in terms of education, it's a tool that can be useful. So I do think that tablets can be useful in
And it's
terms
not
of
being used,
learning.
so because it's a tool that's being used. Jonathan, it's a tool that's being used for indoctrination. I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay?
I mean, you're
Because
not.
this tool, they have kids, if they want, okay, let's say current affairs. Current affairs. Let's say talk about current affairs. Okay. I can tell you about my own boys. They're given an assignment for current affairs, and they are referred to CNN. They're referred to Fox News. Okay, this is the current affair. Things that are contaminated, political, which we know is not good. Okay, so they're being referred to sources that are not reliable, and some of these sources, when the election that Biden stole, okay, happened. Some of these sources were indoctrinating our children, okay, that Biden won, that Donald Trump is a fascist, that Donald Trump is a communist, and these were the assignments they were coming with using these tablets. So what's wrong with getting the traditional, books like we had before all this
I
COVID
just want to.
stuff
I just want to
started?
be clear and make sure that everybody knows where I stand on it because especially with Brandy's comment, I just want to make sure that people don't think that I am a proponent of only using tablets or of them even bringing them home necessarily. Okay, my only point was that I do think tablets, computers, devices like that are a tool and they do have a place in the classroom and they can help kids learn. That's really the only point that I'm making. Of course, just
And
like with
and I
anything,
won't
you have to
disagree with
be
you there.
really.
I won't disagree.
Oh, you
I
won't
won't
disagree.
disagree with you
Okay,
there. No, I don't disagree with you there. What I
yeah,
no, no, but what I disagree on, okay, that point, and you're right, if it's used properly, if it's used for education, traditional education, I don't know, go and search, the parts of an atom, okay, or a molecule, great, cool. But go and do an assignment as to why Donald Trump is a fascist. Okay, and
no,
why
yeah,
America, was never a republic, and this is the stuff that they're pulling up on these laptops, and
yes.
parents
I
only
mean,
found out here in the West Shore School District after 2020 hit.
let's see. So, all right. So, for the concern from the parents' point of view, then with tablets and stuff, is that there's less monitoring. A school curriculum. Sorry, you guys get to see. You can look through it the whole year's curriculum. With a tablet or a device in a
Correct,
classroom, you can show the kids whatever you want, and might not necessarily be a record of that, or the parents might not ever know. Is what your concern is.
correct,
You're concerned
and
about
that's what the concern of
teachers
many
stepping.
of the conservative parents.
Yeah, and absolutely,
That's
and I
exactly
couldn't
it.
agree more. And you bring up a great point with that. That's something that I didn't think of is that teachers, not just students, because of course students are going to do what they're not supposed to with these tablets and devices. That's what kids do. But teachers also may be doing what they're not supposed to be doing or exposing the children to things that they're not supposed to expose or not part of the curriculum is definitely also a concern. I
Correct.
personally don't believe that there is not some monitoring software somewhere that exists on this planet where that can't be at least monitored, even if they do it.
And
So
I agree. But when you
now that comes
talk to them
again, that
about it,
again circles back to the cost issue, which is a problem for the West Shore School District, which I think is a separate issue. I think that a lot of this meeting was held up in that specific regard because there was a miscommunication between what they were actually voting on. They were voting on, do we want to use these tablets? And then some of the people were saying, well, yeah, maybe we do want to use these tablets, but we need to discuss how. And those are two
right.
different conversations. They are different conversations. Should tablets be
And then
used?
do we
I think
really need
yes.
tablets, Jonathan? Do we really
Yeah,
need tablets when they have laptops?
no, again, I don't think no. I would say no. I think if you have a laptop, you definitely don't need a tablet. I think you need one or the other. It's an all
Hmm.
encompassing tool. The laptop, the
Correct.
device, the tablets, they're the same tool, just different variations on it. So no, I don't think that they need laptops
Exactly.
and
And
tablets. No.
if you already have a contract that's working and getting these laptops, then why get tablets? Why incur the expense? Okay, we can't get
Yeah,
air conditioning like Sandra was saying in one of the schools. I think it's Newbury. We can't get air conditioning there. Okay, that's going to cost much less than those tablets. Even if
yeah.
you go the cheapest way of getting air conditioning and put window air conditioners, if you need
Oh,
to
you're right,
provide relief, but we want to spend over $1 million, I think it's a $1.2 million
Mariana.
in tablets.
Mariano, I think is that the Chromebooks, the laptops they have? Is that what they have? They have
Right, the
Chromebooks.
laptop is the Chromebooks, right?
Okay,
Now the
so that's what.
tablet,
Okay, so
it's
they're
an
actually
Apple.
they're getting
The
rid
the
of
tablet's an Apple.
they're getting rid of the Chromebooks. That's the issue. They're not going to continue with the Chromebooks. The tablet replacements, the Apple tablet replacements, are going to be to replace the Chromebooks. So they won't actually
Which is
have
fine, but
laptops and tablets
Apple is
at the
very
same time.
expensive.
I'm
Apple is
sorry.
very expensive. Apple, that
Yeah,
brand Apple, it's very expensive. I love the Apple brand. I always
I'm
did.
not a
I
fan.
remember Apple
I'm
back
not.
in the 80s when they first came out. I am because
Yeah,
I'm very
back to the last
artistic.
time
For
I was a fan.
artistic things, right? For artistic things, it's great. Okay. And I'm at the time I was very artistic doing different things. So that for in that aspect is great. I just don't see it as a good education tool either. And
I
then
also
again, we can't, we're breaking the taxpayer money and they want to continue to spend money. Listen, I
yeah
say don't let this budget pass. Let it crash. Let them go bankrupt. Okay. Let the people see really the condition and make them pay their bills every month when it's due, like you and me do.
yeah absolutely. And I
Hold
was
them
really glad to see
responsible
a lot of
because
it.
in passing the budget, this is the whole thing, Jonathan. In passing the budget, okay, we are allowing them to continue to get more credit because of their credit rating, to allow them to
Yeah,
get more credit and dig us deeper in the hole. They're
yeah.
building these big fancy building like Allen, okay, Allen Middle School. They're building, and they're investing money into repair and upgrade and whatever. I'm not saying don't do it, okay, but what's wrong with putting a cement floor versus terrazzo? A cement floor is as durable. Okay, you can dye it whatever color you want, and it's not as expensive. It's like they want to leave a legacy behind all this expenditures. Then I don't know if you've seen the blueprint. Okay, for some of
I
the
have
new
not.
schools. Okay, so you remember old cafeterias when we entered that were functional. You will make a line, get your food, and go sit down. Well,
Yeah.
no, now they have these two fancy steps going up, and they have these bar style tables and chairs where the kids sit down, like they're in
Oh,
a fancy Starbucks cafe. Okay, I mean, do we really need all that? Do we need all those
oh,
bells and whistles? Okay, and this is what
yeah.
it is. Okay, the tablet is in comparison minute to other things that are happening, but it's more money being spent on the taxpayers' back. They don't have enough money to buy themselves a pencil, but they want us to buy them tablets.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I mean, there certainly has to be a priority. My initial argument was only that I believe tablets are useful. They can be a tool. Of course, if
Hmm.
you can't afford, I mean, like as we just talked about, if you can't afford, if you're having trouble sharpening your pencils, then maybe Chromebooks or Apple tablets are not the best. I'd also like to point out that Apple uh, Apple's very inclusive. They make their own chargers, their
Yes,
own parts, their own products. So really, the only thing you're going to do, you're any repairs and costs by switching to Apple over Chromebook, you're likely going to incur more costs in replacements and repairs than you would if you went with something else because Apple being exclusive with their own parts and stuff like that. All right,
exactly.
let's
I mean, it all comes hand in hand. It all comes all around. It's expensive, and like you stated, they make their own exclusive part, and you can't afford a pencil sharpener. Okay, you're here crying because you want more money, and you're doing what? So yeah, it's not only Kelly Brent saying it; the parents are saying it. The
yes.
parents are being vocal.
That's where they get the yeah, as we heard from Heidi and from and Kelly, and I think one of the other members, they were saying they referenced quite a few times what they were hearing from parents, which I think is
Correct.
important. I think that needs to be more. The school board should be talking to parents, and then voting and doing things based on the wants and needs of the parents. Not to say that everything the parents want is good for the school. That's the point of running for office. That you're the
Correct.
decider. You listen to the parents. What do they want? What is needed, and you figure out what the best course of action to do. That's called public service right there.
But the issue
for
is,
anybody who
Jonathan,
doesn't
that,
know.
in the past, if you look at the meetings before the board that we have now, in the past they got so used to that the parent didn't have a voice. Okay, they got so used to in doing whatever the flip they want. They don't know what to do with themselves now that the parents are ticked off and the parents are fighting back and the parents are being vocal. Okay, so they don't know what to
Yeah,
do with themselves. So they rather say that it's five, like Adam Jones said, that there's only five malcontent parents, me included, okay, that is making all the noise. Nobody. There's
yeah,
more. It's funny.
yeah.
Ryan Argott
Oh,
in the public comments. Okay, he
I'm
said Mariana read, and she sends some attached documents. No, the documents that I sent attached were the signatures of parents who were
That's
fed
right.
up
I
with
couldn't
this crap,
believe.
and he didn't say it.
Yeah, I could not
And we
believe that
put
they didn't
down the
say that when I
name.
heard that.
Right.
He skipped
We
right
put down
over
the
it.
name of every parent. And then he had the nerve to contact me today, okay, earlier today. He had the nerve to contact me and say, well, do you want me to mention this in the special comments section at the meeting? I'm like, well, Einstein, why do you think I sent it to you? And we
Yeah,
made it our business to denote the name of the parents and attach the signatures. And he
and
just made it seem, and this is why we do not
yeah,
like to send electronic. If it's the left, he'll give the name, he'll read the
yeah,
whole
yeah. He
email,
does
but
do
let it
that.
be a conservative.
Yeah, he does do that a lot. He skips over the conservative parents' concerns a lot. He does do that a
Correct.
lot. But we'll definitely put. You're going to be sending that form to me, so we're going to highlight
Yes.
it and show all the signatures and stuff on the show, so that way people know that wasn't just this passerby thing. That it was you had a couple of hundred signatures for that, and that's a lot for a school district with a couple hundred kids. You get a couple hundred parents, and that sounds like a majority. That could very easily be the majority, or even higher than that. Maybe upwards of
And it is
80
the
or so
majority,
percent.
brother. It
So
is the majority. The majority
yeah,
that voted these people in don't want none of this nonsense. It's that minority that's making all the noise that has the big mouths.
absolutely.
Okay, exactly. And
I'll
as
give
you
the
can
fan vote.
see, if you heard Tyranny today when we were talking about the because I jumped in late. Okay, I jumped in late and I was shocked that you guys were still on. I jumped in late. Okay, because I
You're
was in
telling me
church.
at 3
But
hours and 56 minutes that we're still going right now. That's what I'm saying. This is
yes.
yeah.
So I heard Tyranny, saying and making the allegations of, if you guys pass this policy, executive order is not law. And this executive order has been deemed unconstitutional. No, it has not been deemed unconstitutional. That's her gaslighting the people.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
executive order has not been deemed unconstitutional. And then she's saying, well, they can be challenged. Her and Brian Geisway was
Yeah,
saying that. It can be challenged. So now they're
that's
already
ridiculous.
putting the word out there. They want their people to go and sue. That's their way of
Yeah.
saying it.
Yeah, they're so transparent with the way they talk about things. It's laughable. I mean,
Mhm.
all you have to do is see them. All you have to do is see them a proponent to be a proponent of something liberal on the left side, and then see them be an opponent against something on the conservative side. They act completely different. There is no right down the middle. Well, this is what I think, but here's the other option. They're afraid to do that. They don't want to present both options because they know they're going to lose.
Mhm.
And that it's pretty clear from definitely a lot of those people on the board. And it was great to see, as I said, it was great to see some of the conservative board members start to stand up for themselves. And before we get to the last item that was on the agenda, I do want to talk just for a second. I don't believe you got to see it, Mariana, but Kelly actually standing up for herself multiple times throughout this meeting. It just did not happen once. It happened at least on two different occasions that
Wonderful.
I was aware of, where people were trying to talk over her, put words in her mouth, or make it think like she did not know what she was talking about. And she, at this time, she stood up for herself. She stood up to them. She said, I don't appreciate that. This is not what I'm doing. She explained what she was doing, and then they still tried to talk over her. So I think that was a great, perfect example of the bullying problem that is within this school. It exists at the school board level. We've seen it before. We just saw it tonight, and finally we get to see um, Kelly Brendt stand up for herself. Not that she hasn't before. I'm not privy to every time someone challenges her, but at least in the school board meetings, it was great to see her actually kind of almost stop the meeting and be like, "No, listen, this is what I said. This is what I mean. Don't put words in my mouth." And I was thought that was very excellent. I was very glad to start seeing some of that, and Heidi Thomas as usual speaking up as well. So it was really great to see
And I'm
Kelly
happy
really.
to hear that. That does my heart well because this
Me
bullying
too.
has started with them since they came into these
Yeah.
positions. And it's
Yeah.
time for them to start fighting back, shutting them down, and putting the truth and say, this is what I'm saying, and cut it out. So that
Yeah,
does my
exactly. And
heart
she
great to
Yeah,
hear
she
that.
did that. She did that at least twice tonight. I was very impressed with that, and I'm very glad that she started doing that because I don't like the way that she gets treated. Even though Kelly and I haven't always seen eye to eye on everything, you know. So, but it was really great to see her stand up for herself and to put people in their place and be like, listen, you guys are, this is not what I'm saying. This is not what's going on. You guys are not going to put words in my mouth or try and present this as this is what I'm saying. And it was really great to see that in the meeting. So that I wanted to make sure I brought up as well. It was great to see her stand up and to shut down some of this talking over her. She's the president. Let's talk. Let's just
Hmm.
not talk about that. Let's just forget the fact that she is a fellow school board member. She's the president. You shouldn't be talking over her no matter what. It doesn't matter. Okay. That's how you show respect to someone who sits in that office. Okay. When they're talking, you shut up. Okay. When it's your turn to speak, she will be quiet. That's how it works. So it was really
Yes.
great to see her stand up for herself and to let her voice be heard and to also shut them down in terms of the way they try and put words in her mouth.
And I
Um,
hope she's slapping them down about this thing with Brenda Cox. Okay, that comment was out of line because it's like I agree with
yeah,
with Brandy right here. Okay, they've been trying to stop this Redland Sport project, and the one behind trying to stop it is Abigail Tierney, and she knows it because she
yeah.
does not want this project to come into fruition. And for them to say that Brenda should not be voting, that's bullcrap.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that either. Of course, I mean, just look last week. They accused cyber school of bribery. So I
Hmm.
mean, there some of these school board members have no filter or don't understand what a public meeting and public comments and the repercussions that can bring to you. So yeah, I think
Correct.
some of these people are going to be learning soon. Let's
Hmm.
talk about the last thing, and then we can get out of here. Thank you for whoever is still watching. I can't believe we still have people tuning in. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that because sometimes we don't always get the views on our watch alongs, and we've been trying to change it up to make it more so that people want to tune into us. So that's going to be the new format. We're going to show the meeting, then we'll do our comments and our post game analysis after the meeting is over, so people can hear everything that's in the meeting. So thank you for sticking around for a little extra and talking about this. The last thing was the boys and girls sports, and they had to bring it out to the sunshine, and now they can vote on it next month. Of course, that faced significant opposition from several people, including who was it? Geistwhite? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Guy White, he
Yeah,
tries
he
to come
wants.
across as a conservative, okay? He's
Yeah, he's
trying to come
definitely
across because
not.
he's
That's
running
pretty
against
clear.
Sandra, and he's also using his ex-military status because he's a vet, okay, as though, he fought for this country and he's a
Yeah. Well,
conservative.
you know what?
He's
I
the
mean,
conservative my big toe. Okay, he's
I
been
was.
trying not to get this policy not passed, and
Yeah.
like I told you, his wife now she's a principal. I believe it's in I want to say it's Allen. I could be wrong. Middle school. Okay, and she was the head of the LGBTQ. Okay, so was allowing her to bring all this trash in. So he doesn't want this policy to go through. Okay, so he is not the
Yeah.
conservative that he claims to be. This is why I
No, he's
say,
not.
folks, you gotta vote for Sandra Gonzalez because she's the true conservative and she's the one fighting all
Yeah,
this
you
trash.
do. You do need to vote for Sandra Gonzalez because Geistwhite is a wolf, a sheep. I'm sorry, a wolf in sheep's clothing. And Brandy says it's Fairview. It was Fairview School, not Allen. Um,
Thank you for that, Brandy.
and yes, thank you, Brandy. Sorry you couldn't be in the studio tonight, but thank you for tuning in and giving us some, for providing us some facts with your comments. Yeah, I couldn't believe. I can't. Yeah, he was talking so much rubbish at the end of that meeting about the policy, the boys and girls sports. I could not believe what he was saying. Anybody who thinks he's a conservative, just listen to what he's talking about in that. He's not for safe kids. He's not for. He may think he is, but he's not. The way he presents himself, the policies he's for. He's not for kid
He's
safety. He's
not.
for he's for
He's about the
acceptance.
agenda.
He told you
Hmm.
that as much as tonight. He actually said he's for acceptance. That's what he wants. And the other guy talking about
Yep.
why do kids go to sports for acceptance? No, most kids go to sports because they want to play the specific
Hmm.
game that they're going to do. Yes, the social aspect component certainly is a motivator for some kids, but majority of the kids are going to play that sport because they either enjoy the sport or maybe they have hopes and dreams being children that they are. Then maybe they'll make it to the big leagues one day, like the MLB or the NFL, and they'll make it big. That's why
And you
kids
know
go to
what's the best
sports.
part of that? About this guy swipe thing, Jonathan. So when they were talking and the lawyers were talking about, rewriting the policy last week, Brian Geiswhite wasn't even there. So, Randy, just brought to my memory that it's a great thing that Kelly told them you weren't even there. So he likes to yak, but when anything serious is going down, he's never around.
Yeah, and yeah, and if he was that concerned about it, then he should have been at the policy meeting to hear what was
Correct.
said. He's a school board member. He has a right to be at those policy meetings when they're being talked about and voted on and so forth. So he should have been there. Okay. So you can't come in afterwards and, well, why are we pushing it? Well, they're not pushing it through. This is a policy they've been discussing for at least a month, if not more. This has been going on for a lot longer, than that since I've been covering it. So this has been going on for a long time. This is not something that anybody's trying to rush through or push through. It's been happening. They're at the point where they're ready to vote it through. This is called procedure. This is procedure.
Hmm.
This is not, no one's rushing anything through. It's called procedure. You just weren't paying attention through most of it, or you're just trying to gaslight, as many of the school board members like to do. So they are going to put it
Yes.
forward. I didn't get a chance to look at the actual policy yet. I will do my best to see if I can see the policy, or if Mariana gets it, she can make sure that she sends it to me so that I can take a look at it, so we can see if it's a good policy, if it's the right policy, and then we'll be able to comment on that. I don't know what the policy is. I don't know the specifics, so I'm not going to comment on whether the policy is good or not good. The only thing I will
Yeah,
say
I
is
have
that
to
with the
pull it. I
executive,
didn't have time to download it today because I had like a billion things on my plate today. But I'm gonna pull it tonight. Gonna read it and I'm gonna send to you. But another thing you had, Abigail Turney. Well, what's the rush? What's the rush? Okay,
it's called an
listen.
executive order, and I'm
Exactly,
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off,
and they've been pushing it back since January. What you
and
mean?
Joe
What's the
Biden.
rush?
And they were quick to implement all of Joe Biden's executive orders. So I don't want to hear
Oh,
this. It's an
because there
executive
was
order.
money
We don't have
attached.
to rush it. We don't have to rush it. You were rushing it when Joe Biden was issuing them. So I don't want to hear your nonsense. People are getting savvy
Mhm.
to this nonsense, to this double talk.
And they
Okay.
did it because
Especially,
of the ESSA funds, because they wanted that money.
yeah.
I think Kirsty told me that those ESSA funds were like something to the tune of like 17 million, something like that. Okay, maybe it probably was more, but they wanted that money because when COVID hit, COVID was actually a lifesaver for them because they were already in bankruptcy,
Yeah.
trying to figure out how they want to get out of the red. Then the COVID money came, so they masked up all your kids, but then they all went to this bar, to
Yep.
have dinner after a meeting, and they were all sitting shoulder to shoulder with no mask on the same
Yep.
day that they implemented the mask.
Yep, that's the typical double talking that you're going to see from some of your elected leaders, and that's why you can't reelect them. Don't let people like that profit and make money or get power off of your vote. Okay, pay attention to who you're voting for. Okay, Sandra Gonzalez is the only one that the Boiling Point podcast has officially endorsed so far.
Hmm.
If you guys, anybody who's watching, reach out to Kelly Brent, reach out to Heidi Thomas, reach out to some of the other conservative board members. I would be happy to have the Boiling Point podcast endorse them also. But I have to have a conversation with them first. That's the rule for the show that I have made. I will not endorse somebody at the local level, or even at the likely. I might not even vote for any or endorse anybody at the state level without actually at least having a conversation with them. The federal level, of
Correct.
course, what are the chances I'm going to get Donald Trump on the phone so that the Boiling Point podcast, he can get the Boiling Point podcast endorsement? Let's be realistic. But local school board and local elections, if you want our endorsement, you're coming on the show. Or at the very least, we need to have a conversation. That's all. I'm not saying you have to come on the show, but we have to have a conversation at the very least. So, um, to conservative board members, reach out to the show. Let's have a small conversation so that we can actually officially endorse you this year for the elections. We are the Boiling Point podcast is getting more viewerships. We're getting a lot of local parents and stuff looking to us to provide them with the information. So this is a good place to get your message out. Sandra Gonzalez has been on an episode. She'll be on another one because we didn't get through all the topics we wanted to discuss. So, reach out to us. We can help you. We can talk about the issues, and we can get everything out there in the open. Mariana, I have been doing this for 4 hours, 9 minutes, and 15 seconds. I am spent, even though I wasn't
I
talking
hear
the whole
you.
time. Anybody who tuned in knows that I was doing tickers and visuals. I was looking up information. I was following along with with the outline. So I was working this whole time, and I'm ready to take a break actually, because I need to take just a 15 minutes and step away. So 10:30 at night. Thank you for anybody who's still joining us. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up, Mary, before we close it out?
Well, I want to remind everybody that we are having the prayer walk now on April. Casey, the prayer walk is April 26th. April 26th at 10 o'clock in Redland. We're going to be meeting in the parking lot. Okay, because we have to pray and bring these strongholds down that's holding the West Shore School District captive. And lastly, Brandy, thank you for being a champion and being there all the time for us. And I want to wish everybody in the West Shore School District or the parents of the West Shore School District a very happy Easter. Okay. He is
Yep.
risen. Hallelujah. He still sits on the throne and he will come back. Maranatha. So
Yes.
happy Easter.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you said that. Thank you for reminding me. I got so many things on my plate. I forget sometimes that's Easter, even though we did post our Easter episode. Our Easter episode is posted. Go check it out with Pastor
Mhm.
Gavin. We post an Easter episode every single year. And the best part is that we don't talk about the same thing. It's not the same episode. We don't bring you the same episode every year. It's different points, different topics about what Easter means and what it's about. So tune into this year because it was another really great year, very informative. So, and if you want to know what Easter is really about, don't just go watch one of our episodes. You have to go watch them all because, as I said, we talk about different points and different aspects of it. So the only way to know is to watch them all. Don't go back and watch some old ones because they're good. There's there's no time frame for them. Any content with Pastor Gavin is usually relevant at all times. So go
And it's
check it out.
accurate, scripturally accurate. Okay.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
I know Pastor Gavin, he is a wonderful teacher. And you really
Yeah.
want to feed your soul and you really want to get to the meat and bone of the scripture, that's the teacher you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Pastor Gavin's great at helping present the scripture in modern day terms so that you can understand what it means and how to apply it in your life. And that's why you want to go check out him on YouTube as well. He has his own channel. In addition to doing stuff for us, he has his own channel where he does his sermons. He's also the most consistent content maker you're gonna find out there. There's only about 2 weeks every year. He posts episodes like clockwork. 50 out of 52 weeks a year. You're not going to find a more consistent podcaster or content producer than Pastor Gavin. So go check him out.
Mhm.
Listen to his sermons, share them out, leave a comment. He's just gone over 100 followers on or subscribers on YouTube. We just helped him reach over 100 subscribers. He's finally in triple digits. So let's get it going again and try and get another run going. Marcus
Amen.
Frederiksen is going to play us out. He does the music. Go check out his channel, reverbnation.com/Marcus Frederiksen. Share out your favorite song and tag us in the post. Also, our storefront, bonfire.com/store/the Boiling Point Podcast. We have a lot of new products out. I haven't gotten a chance to buy any myself, but we got a lot of new products out. Go pick some stuff up, support the show, and please share it out. Leave a comment. All of that right now. There's people watching. If you haven't hit that like button, if you haven't hit that reaction button, do it right now. And then right after that, hit the share button because that will help us grow and to reach more people. Until next time, Mariana, I'm sure you'll be up maybe in the next week or two with another Watchdog report. And the Boiling Point podcast will, of course, be around doing the local school board stuff. But look for us to start getting back into some national coverage and to some national politics and some national conversations as well over the spring and summer, where we will continue. I mean, we're cranking on all cylinders and we're not going anywhere. So, Mariana, until next time, I am your host, JD, and that's the end.
Good night.